Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day life. Let's start with the video.
Being a journalist, I am away from home most of the time for my different projects, as my job demands me to be. I am married, F29, to the person, M30, I fell in love with during one of my trips. I have been married for 3 years now. We moved to my house, which was my dad's, and then I inherited it. As we are both working people, we both contribute to our expenses and bills. I and my husband get very little time together, as we are often away from home during our jobs. We have to plan various dates and weekends so we can spend time together. Not being able to give proper time and being tired whenever we get home ignites several arguments between us that we resolve with time, so there are no major issues between us. We had been planning this trip for a long time, but were not able to execute this plan as my job got hectic and I had to move from city to city for some time. We had this plan of a road trip to a faraway city, also of a stay at the hotel, and then of returning in 2 days. We promised that whenever we got the slightest chance, we were going on this road trip. We also saved some extra money so we could stay at a 5-star hotel and enjoy great dinners. Finally, I got this chance to go on the trip when I had to move back to my hometown for several weeks. I applied for a 3-day holiday, packed all the necessary stuff, and set off with my husband on this road trip. We were very excited as this was after a very long time when we got the chance to finally spend some golden time together. We took turns while we drove, played our favorite music, chatted, and laughed. I felt like this was the best time of my life, not knowing what life was going to bring to my face. We reached the destination and checked in the hotel where our room was already booked online. We went to our room, freshened up, and got ready for dinner. We went to the hotel's restaurant and ordered food. All this time, we were talking about our lovely memories and how blissful the evening was. Everything seemed to be perfectly in its place. After dinner, we went to bed as we were already tired and wanted a good sleep. When I woke up the next day, my husband was not by my side. I waited on the bed expecting him to be in the bathroom, but it felt like he was taking so long. I got up and knocked the door, but got no answer, so I simply turned the knob and found that my husband was not there. I dressed up and went looking for him as well. I called his number, but the number was not responding. My heart raced and I was worried now. I was so scared that I started asking random people if they had seen him. I quickly went to check our rented car to see if he had left the hotel, and to my horror, the car wasn't there. I thought that I should wait and went back to our room, but the anxiety pushed so hard that I had to leave the hotel and go looking for him. I checked out, but had no clue how to reach my hometown. With minimum cash on me, I somehow managed to get to my place. As I reached home, the door was already unlocked, so I went inside. What I saw was my husband lying on the floor, crying and breathless. Around him were the broken photo frames and flower vases, making me clueless about the whole situation. My husband noticed me, got up, and said that she had ruined him and left him with nothing. As I asked whom he was talking about, he, in the wave of emotions, told me that he was in love with this girl from a nearby college and was seeing him for a year or so. I was shattered to pieces, my head spun, and I left my house immediately. I have left my house and I am at my friend's place because I am unable to face my cheating husband. I confronted him after I collected myself and came to know about the whole story. I am shocked that this man dares to blame me, saying that I was never there and was never available when he needed somebody by his side. According to him, I am a very self-absorbed woman who is only interested in her career and has no value for relationships. I am just unable to digest that this was the man I argued with my parents for and took a stand to marry him. This was the man I shared my life with. All my concerns and cares revolved around him. I put all my efforts into maintaining this relationship while he was seeing the kid and being intimate with her. Also, I have these feelings that my house and my bedroom was being used in my absence, and this freaks me out. I can't believe that I stayed in the dark this long and didn't even mind focusing on the hints I used to get now and then. I cannot even face myself as I feel like a clown who was being exploited all this time. I just cannot comprehend how he could confess to my face that he fell in love with a girl who has now ditched him for someone else, and now he is not able to deal with his so-called heartbreak. So here's an update. My husband just approached me and begged me to return, saying that he made a horrible mistake and is ashamed of it. He says that whatever happened was a blunder and that he never wanted to put me through this. In between his apologies, he kept saying that he isn't the only one who is responsible for this situation, but I too have a fair share, as I was never vigilant enough for him, or I could have found out about this affair long ago. He says that it was my carelessness and irresponsibility that my husband went after another woman, and I was clueless. He has been justifying his cheating by saying that he needed attention and craved love in my absence, which led him to the situation. Even if I am the one to be blamed, why did he shamelessly confess his love for that girl? Why does he say that he is heartbroken and that girl ruined him? How can he just develop feelings for someone by being in a marriage with someone else? All his apologies and begging just didn't make any sense. He says that I should return and work on our struggling marriage, but I cannot see any future of this marriage. So, I have mustered up the courage and filed for divorce, as I cannot continue my life with such a cheater. As soon as he was notified about it, he acted crazy. He has been calling me and I am not interested in talking to him, so he started calling my friends, parents, and even my co-workers. He has called them and told them that I was never interested in this marriage and was always looking for a way to escape. And now, when I finally have an insignificant reason, I am creating a mountain out of a molehill. He has also talked about my character and said that I have been working with male co-workers and also have been traveling with them, so there is no credibility of my character. This tore my heart into pieces. I have always respected my partner so much. I cannot believe that this is the same person I fell in love with and fought to marry. This is the person I used to think of day and night. This is the person who was my whole world. This person is not even thinking before talking about my character. My parents called me and asked me to reconsider my decision and give him a chance, as we are perfect for each other in every way. And what will I do with my life after the divorce? They said that it's me who is going to suffer the consequences after the divorce, as he's just going to find another woman for himself, just as he did before. The thing is, even if he can find himself 2 new women at this point, he is not going to get any place in my life, as I don't care anymore. I do not understand why my parents want me to stay stuck with such an immature and total cheat. I am a well-established woman who has a good job with nice pay and owns a house. Why should I compromise and give him a chance? Did he consider our marriage while he was indulged with that kid who was a good-for-nothing? My friend supports me and says that she will stand by me whatever decision I make. Also, as I own the house, I am going to kick that unthankful person out of it. I guess this can also be his major concern, as he will be homeless unless he goes back to his parents' house. Your husband is the a-hole. Having a loving woman with a career, a house, who puts all her efforts into the marriage, does not deserve to be cheated on like that. Just because she was stuck with work and was away for most of the time, it doesn't allow the husband to do whatever suits him. He is an unthankful a-hole who is still not embarrassed or ashamed of what he has done and wants reconciliation. Also, he never stops blaming his wife, who was just unaware of all the filth going on behind her back. I feel sorry for her, knowing that she, during the road trip, thought that life with that horrible person was just perfect. I am glad things got uncovered dramatically in front of her, and now she can take a stand for herself. The real a-hole here is the husband, but I do not get why the parents want their girl to just go back and live a life of darkness with her husband. In this weak moment, they should stand by her and support her with her decisions. This is the time when she needs them the most, as she is shattered and broken, but they choose to support their loser son-in-law. She shouldn't be pressured and pushed to go back to someone who doesn't even deserve her and value her. She is a strong woman who earns and can afford. She is confident with her decision, and I think she can lead a better life without that shameless cheater. I appreciate her friend who not only kept and took care of her while she stayed at her friend's place, but also supported her with the decision of separation. Here, the friend is acting like a family member, while the family wants to push her into the hellhole. I'm going to try and keep this short and concise, diving straight into the problem. Ever since my daughter was born, my wife developed an unhealthy habit of buying excessive clothes and toys for her. My daughter is currently 4 months old, and my wife gets her clothes fit for ages all the way to 1-year-old. I am a house husband, so I'm doing most of the baby-related work, and we don't even change my daughter that excessively a day. My daughter doesn't even wear half the clothes my wife buys. Hence, I don't necessarily find a need for all these clothes to be stashed away, when instead, she could spend money on more important things, like my daughter's future preschool fees or even current things like savings, etc. My wife, what she does after work and doing the house chores is that she goes straight to her phone and starts browsing Amazon and bulk buying all these baby clothes she fancies, without a second thought or asking me. Some of these clothes are high-end brands, which I have not let my daughter wear once, fearing that she would stain it. Not only is my daughter going to grow out of these clothes within a year, in the end, all this money is being wasted on something that cannot be repurposed. So I decided to give away some of the clothes designed for ages 7 months and above to my sister, who also has a baby girl, and some of the others to a local charity that supports single mothers. It is still a while before my daughter reaches her age, and she already has enough to sustain her for a whole year. I wasn't planning to tell my wife until she ran into my sister during a recent family gathering, and my niece was wearing the same clothes my wife bought. When she confronted my sister and realized the truth, my wife was furious. I might be the a-hole given that I should have taken her permission or perhaps at least resold it so that the money could be reimbursed back, but I knew she wouldn't agree, hence I had to make a rather harsh decision. These clothes would be better off for someone who actually needs them than my daughter. My wife is still pissed even though I've apologized and explained my rationale. I really wish she would stop impulse buying clothes for my daughter, especially after I've communicated with her multiple times. P.S. Don't worry, my wife still pays all the expenses and bills on time, so no problems on that. But still feels that this impulse buying could cause a strain in her financial earnings, which could have otherwise gone into our joint savings account. You're the a-hole. I started out thinking that everyone sucks here, and you got more and more wrong. Your daughter is 4 months old, so you gave away brand new clothes over 7 months? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Baby sizes are inconsistent, and babies go through growth spurts, and you absolutely should have the next 2 sizes or so available at any time. It's not like she's buying 3T, and this just encourages your wife to have to buy new stuff in a month or two, so costing your family a lot more money. Also, you don't put the clothes on because you're afraid she'll stain them. She's a baby. If the money has already been spent on clothes, let her wear them. She'll outgrow them in 2 months anyway. If you've already spent the money, who cares if the stain gets on a $5 Carter onesie or a designer outfit? Take a few cute pictures before the inevitable poop-splosion. Have an actual grown-up conversation with your wife. Set a budget. Talk about thinking the designer stuff isn't worth it and how it should be returned or limited. If she completely is unwilling to compromise and you guys can't save, that's an issue. But getting rid of clothes that will fit in 2 to 3 months without saying anything, that's just completely ridiculous and an a-hole move that doesn't benefit anyone.
Here's the next story.
We recently had senior recognition for my team since our regular season is over. Each year, each senior is talked about, accomplishments on the team and academically, and then escorted by her parents and then given a gift of a framed uniform. They introduced the senior by going, "Here is first name, last name, from X hometown, escorted by her parents, mom and dad first names and last names." I asked my coach not to use my mom and stepdad's last name since it's different from mine, and it kind of brings up uncomfortable feelings. I, 22F, asked my mom and stepdad to escort me since they are the ones who were there almost every single day of my childhood and were there for the good and bad moments. When I was a nasty teenager, my stepdad stuck around and loved me even though I was a little kid that hated him because he wasn't my actual dad. I also thought it was impossible that he could love me as much as he loves my half-siblings. They are real full 100% siblings to me. I don't like using the term half. My dad, stepmom, and half-siblings, I call them half because we weren't raised together, lived in another state and I saw them on some school breaks and every other holiday. Until I had practice pretty much every day in summer. My dad and stepmom flew to see me 1 weekend a month because my stepmom could apparently not handle me having my dad all to myself for just 2 days out of a month. My dad and stepmom came to this last competition of regular season. I didn't tell my dad that it was senior recognition because I didn't know he was going to come. My dad was sad and my stepmom got really snippy, and I told them both that they are part-time parents and that they are delusional for thinking I would give them any credit for raising me and my athletic career when they live states over. My dad called me crying. He never cries, and was telling me how much he loves me and how hard it was to be away from me. My stepmom just lectured me about how they did the best they could by coming one weekend a month, etc. I kind of feel like an a-hole now for not telling my dad about it now and yelling at him. My stepmom not wanting me to have my dad all to myself is just a theory. Not the a-hole. I would imagine my half-brother and sister feel the exact same way. My dad picked my mom and me over his 2 kids with his first wife. I was a baby and obviously didn't know what was going on. But looking back, he did them dirty. After doing some vague questions, asking both of my parents, I'm pretty sure it was 90% my mom's influence and 10% my dad's hatred of rocking the boat and creating conflict. If you want a relationship with your dad, I'd directly ask him why he's not been around, and if that was stepmom's doing. You are still young enough to mend a fence if you want. My half-siblings are in their late 40s, early 50s, and my father has passed away. Either way, though, you are definitely not the a-hole, and you could never be. Not the a-hole. Being a vacation parent is a choice. If your children are important to you, you make every effort to be a part of their lives. Your dad made a choice to not be involved, and by the sounds of it, your stepmom encouraged that choice. They don't get to expect anything from you. That said, if this event was your dad's light bulb moment, you could sit him down and talk with him, and only him, about how you viewed his role in your life and what you'd want or need from him going forward if he wants a better relationship. But that is 100% your choice.